Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to Rican Muslim. I'm your host, Rican Muslim. Ramadan Mubarak to everybody. So, yeah, things are breaking apart around the world. New York City is in complete chaos, as always. And they keep telling me, the West, the best place, the best system, the scary word Sharia law is gross. But then, let's see how awesome the West and their legal system is working out.
Right now, police are looking for a crew of purse snatchers who they say are targeting women on the Upper East Side. News 4's Gus Rosendale talked to one of the victims, a 71-year-old who was ambushed by a group of masked.
I had to already targeting women. I wonder why. The Quran says, for women, hey, you shouldn't be alone. Should have, brothers, father, and so on. Look at that. I wonder if these women were by themselves. I wonder if they were accompanied by, men, husbands, and so on. How much more likely? I'm sure that happens, but not as likely because they want to choose targets. They're alone. Look at that. I wonder if the Quran knows what's going on. Knew this was going to happen.
So a gang of masked men are roaming the streets, stealing whatever it is they can get their hands on. Because as New York City spends millions to stop lawlessness in its subways and in its retail stores, desperate gangs are outflanking our understaffed police who can't be everywhere and are now preying directly on the general public. And this is just the latest escalation in a never-ending wave of crime New York City has no hope of stopping.
The violence was as sudden as it was unsuccessful, as a trio of sledgehammer-wielding thieves made a beeline for this jewelry store in Bay Ridge.
Suddenly, I just was hit.
3 women targeted in recent weeks in the same area, around 2nd and 3rd Avenues. The crimes happening after dusk, but not late at night.
They've hit nearly 24 times over the past 3 months. At times, you can see it on video, snatching drivers' phones mid-ride and then draining their bank accounts.
Peering through the peephole, this Bronx man thought his insurance company was delivering much-needed help for his injured back.
I opened the door.
And he says these men kept demanding one thing.
I said, what's the money? I got no money.
Somebody's supposed to tell them, if you work, hard work, or if you go to school, you will be a doctor, you will be a lawyer. But now you lost your life.
Cops haven't determined if the same group is to blame for this most recent hit, but it sure looks similar.
I wonder what would happen if I don't know, got somebody's hands. One hand, you have 1,000 people missing a hand. I don't know how much of a turn that's going to be. Wonder. I'm just saying. Sharia law will definitely fix all that. All of it. Within the first week. I'm just saying.
So as crime below ground continues to surge, New York City no longer has enough police to keep our streets safe. And what nobody's talking about is this means assaults on the general public are only going to get worse because putting more police below ground just forces those criminals to commit crime somewhere else. Something they're already doing as big box retailers spend millions locking down their stores to stop the theft of everything. Not just luxury items like jackets and designer underwear, but also the theft of ice cream and consumables, which gets stolen from one store and resold at another. And if our criminals can't commit crime in the subway and they can't commit crime in stores, they're just gonna follow the path of least resistance, which is gonna lead them right to you and me. And even New York's dumbest criminals are quickly learning that regular people are walking piggy banks. We've got phones, AirPods, jewelry, and perhaps a bag that can be resold on eBay or Facebook Marketplace. And if they score someone's ID and a set of keys, whatever's in their house or car could just be a bonus. Which brings us to the real reason New York's entire system of law and order is collapsing, putting regular people at risk. We've decriminalized things like theft, robbery, and assault, which explains why those are now now full-time jobs for our thugs. And when you combine a zero consequences environment with New York's ultra-high cost of living, these thieves can find willing buyers for unlimited amounts of stolen items on every street corner in town. And as you're about to see, our thieves will steal whatever they can get their hands on, even if it's in your pocket. So here we are in Manhattan's Upper East Side, a neighborhood with an average apartment rent of over $4,000 per month. And with even the smallest studio apartments here costing around $3,200 per month, you'll need to be fairly well off to call this area home. But because New York City's given up on law and order, the resources it takes to live in this neighborhood have sadly made everyone here a target for criminals.
Upper East Side cardiologist Ellen Mello tells me she's bouncing back. But police say this group of violent purse snatchers is still out there, linked with multiple attacks in the same neighborhood, attacking women, going for purses, and always getting away with their sense of security.
This story is terrible. Here you have a normal person, this poor woman who's a doctor, and thieves singled her out in this part of town and stole her belongings, which they've apparently done before. This isn't the first time these criminals have targeted someone around here and escaped. And they've gotten away with this multiple times over the last few weeks. Here's what they look like. 5 men. I don't care who you are. If they come after you, you're gonna be outnumbered. And that's a huge problem. Our streets are literally becoming no-go zones for the very residents who live on them. And this is absolutely terrible. People should be able to walk around where they live and not be in fear. Yet because our city has given up on law and order, this is a new reality many New York residents now have to face.
I mean, they did it to themselves, right? They don't care about consequence, don't care about law and order, don't care about law subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, oh, the West is the best system in the world, blah, 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 Western values, Judeo-Christianism, whatever. And look, this is where it leads to. This is where it completely and utterly leads to. No consequences, there's no fear of Allah, and yeah, what we have. You know, I mean, what did they expect was going to happen? It's...
Especially when nobody from this gang has been arrested. Everyone is still out there, even though we've got them on security camera and know who they are. Something which doesn't sit well with residents who are now sitting ducks.
3 women targeted in recent weeks in the same area, starting in late January, around 2nd and 3rd Avenues. Dr. Mello says she was walking down 70th Street near 2nd and by the scaffolding when she was attacked. She says it happened fast, but she still had time to fear the worst.
Like, I felt like...
This is absolutely terrifying, but it's exactly what happens when you don't have laws that punish anybody for anything. And all of these attacks took place in the early evening hours before it gets dark, in a busy, well-trafficked part of town, which, according to criminal sympathizers, just so happens to be in one of the safest big cities in America. And although reality-denying positions like that only exist to help people feel better about the problems their policies have caused, the actual residents who have to live in these neighborhoods and walk on these lawless streets know the truth. Because this neighborhood's also falling prey to criminals like this guy who's 41 and has over 40 arrests. It says right here, every single time he gets arrested, he ends up getting caught loose because of our soft on crime justice system. Either the charges against this guy get dropped, which means he never actually did anything wrong, or he gets set free on what's called supervised release, a court-ordered program and non-monetary condition that provides community-based supervision and support for individuals with pending criminal cases, where non-profit agencies are the ones who supervise these criminals. And look, if someone's allowed to commit crime in this city and their only consequence is that criminals sympathizing activists are the ones supervising them, that would explain a lot why we've got so many repeat offenders, especially when supervised release has apparently kept over 50,000 people out of jail and on our streets. And if criminals never end up in jail or lose their freedom, they're just gonna keep committing crime.
Mello and another 38-year-old victim held onto their bags throughout their ordeals, while a 32-year-old woman lost her handbag, money, and credit cards. Neighbors now on alert. Again, another look at the suspects breaking the law again as they slip through the emergency exit on the subway, escaping the law, at least for now.
So these women, they were not just random targets. These criminals, they're here for a reason. They know that they can get away with this. They're going after a specific type of person in a specific area of town. This is awful. And when the people being targeted try to resist, they're outnumbered. It doesn't work out for them. And we have this same pattern of crime repeating itself over and over again, and nothing's being done about it. And that's because this neighborhood's in Manhattan, where the district attorney is incredibly progressive, but also the leader of the Trump resistance movement. One of several. We have many people here that are in positions of power who have decided to fight the new president tooth and nail. But if you've got a district attorney who doesn't see crime the same way normal people do, nobody should be surprised when criminals are let off the hook for things that offend most of society. Which is crazy, because in spite of crime surging, it looks like our district attorney is headed to a smooth re-election. And if he wins, all that's going to prove is that New Yorkers still haven't connected the dots between the crime they experience every single day and policies and prosecutors who protect criminals or don't see them as criminals at all.
I don't understand. I never understood this. Like, what? This is what I'm talking about. This is why I told my fellow Muslim brothers and sisters, this whole align ourselves with the quote left or the quote right. None of it. No, none of them have our values. They don't. You know, they completely, utterly don't. We need to stop kidding ourselves, okay? This is what it leads to, and look at that. I mean, look what is going on. You know, that we need Sharia law, so we need to pray. That's what we need to make sure our families are taken care of, are protected, our sisters are being protected, our mothers, our daughters. You know, this is why. This is
And if that happens, it's just going to allow people like this guy to continue stealing from people and breaking into apartments. And you know something? If people like this can get arrested 40 times and never end up in jail, not only are they never going to change their behavior, but some of them are going to graduate to committing crimes that are even worse. So here we have a bunch of independent businesses selling high-end stuff, which unfortunately always sells if it's stolen and then resold for 70 to 50% off on the side of the street or on the internet somewhere. But these places, they're commercial businesses. They've got cameras and security systems, which apparently do nothing to deter thieves who are looking for a bigger payday than whatever they could find on someone's person.
The violence was as sudden as it was unsuccessful. A mother and her daughter scrambling out of the way as a trio of sledgehammer-wielding thieves made a beeline for this jewelry store in Bay Ridge, pounding away as they tried to gain access with the owner and a customer inside.
So if you never punish purse snatchers, eventually some of them are going to graduate to stealing the stuff that they find inside purses, just stealing it from the store instead. Which shockingly happened at a jewelry store in full view of customers and the general public while the business was open. People tried to break in and steal stuff, and there were no police around to stop them because they've all been sent underground to stop crime in this subway. Now, luckily, the security glass on the front of the store stopped these criminals from being able to get inside, even though the place was open and the door was probably unlocked, which proves that these criminals are pretty dumb. They probably could have got in if they had just walked in through the front door, but nobody got arrested. And what that means is they're all still out there. They're gonna get a do-over, and when they come back to another business, maybe they'll be smart enough to just try and walk in or to get in some other way. Revealing that New York's soft on crime laws just make this place a training ground for criminals.
Somebody crazy. Fazi Ayub owns Lamar Jewelry and says he can't understand why the gang thought they'd be successful. On Friday around dinner time, high-tech security glass stopped them in their tracks.
1, 2, 3.
So 3 windows.
3 windows, yeah.
You know, the fact that the glass stopped these guys almost makes it sound victimless, right? But that would actually be wrong. Because even though none of the stuff inside the store was stolen, which is expensive, the security glass, keeping everything safe, that cost $15,000, and now somebody's got to pay to replace it. And who do you think that's going to be? Hopefully it'll be the insurance if the business has it. But even if they do have insurance, the rates for that business are going to go up because now they're in an area with increased crime. And they've got to pay a deductible, insurance only pays for the glass, maybe not the installation, they'll find a way out. But perhaps these thieves weren't as stupid as we think they were. Look at this, recently there was an $800,000 heist at a jewelry store, which was conducted by people who were operating in a similar manner with masks and sledgehammers. And even though we don't know if these are the same criminals, they probably aren't, but you can't blame them for doing what they see other people doing and getting away with, especially when the potential payday is massive. And when
I like how he says we can't blame them. I mean, you can. You absolutely can. And yeah, it's the love of the dunya. I mean, the love of money. That's all they think everybody thinks about, everybody consumes, already their entire lives revolves upon that. But I mean, yeah, they still $800,000 worth of it. They get hit by a car and die. I said, what was nothing. It's so pointless, But the West keeps on telling you that's what you should strive for: just money, 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 money. And then yeah, but yeah, it's this love for worldly things.
When the consequences are very small. None of these criminals in New York are risking their freedom or their ability to live a normal life by attempting to commit any of these crimes, because they'll just get a slap on the wrist. Or at worst, maybe supervised release, which isn't really a consequence. Which is a huge problem, because it means the only people at risk are the law-abiding businesses and people on the streets who are targets. Which explains why we're seeing more of this type of crime, not less.
Cops are investigating two very similar crimes within 48 hours of each other back in December. One just down the block from Ayoub's shop. There, they targeted the store in broad daylight and got nothing. But here in Jackson Heights, they grabbed $800,000 worth of jewelry.
So if people can break into multiple businesses and not get caught, of course this is going to be a new type of crime wave. No one's getting in trouble. And it costs the criminals absolutely nothing to give it a shot. And until that dynamic changes, this type of crime is just going to keep happening, because the people doing it literally have no incentive to stop. In fact,
you know, and it's funny because I look at this video, I look at the comment sections, and then one of the things that keeps coming up over and over again is right here. There's a reason why thieves in old times lost their hands. And now I think, you know, without them knowing, they start looking at different things about how people used to deal with things back in the day. And yeah, people now start looking at how to stop these things. And one thing that comes up is, well, the Sharia. And so many comments. Last time I saw this video, there were 5,000 comments. Now there's over 10,000. Yeah, but I think this was just 4 days ago. Yeah, people started looking at, wait a minute, maybe there is a deterrent. Maybe there is a way to deter for this to keep reoffending and keep happening. And more people see these videos that starts talking about the things like, oh, well, should we cut off their hands, or you know, the things that are so brutal, like, no, that's just cruel and unusual punishment and blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, it's a deterrent. Oh yes, we got thousands of people losing their hands. I guarantee you it'll stop. It will. And yeah, because I think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best, and he knew this was coming. And people started waking up. Kind of just like the fall of the West, how it's falling. It's not surprising. It's not going to get any better. So, brothers and sisters, take care of your sisters, take care of your mothers, take care of your wives. We take care of each other. Alhamdulillah. Hope this Ramadan has been good for you. And let me know what you guys think. Till next time, Ramadan Mubarak.